It is Thursday, and it's time for emerging from lockdown. Look, if you're like a lot of people, during lockdown, you may have put on weight. You may have lost sleep. You may have eaten too much. You may have gotten depressed, felt extra anxiety, any number of stuff. Well, this episode and all the episodes of Emerging from Lockdown is here to help you get out of that habit. Do an about face. We're emerging from lockdown. We're going to kick that door down. I hope the bottom of my foot's clean. Kick that door down, boom, and emerge from lockdown. This is your life, my life. This is our life we're talking about. So this is nothing to fool around with, right? So let's get moving here. Let's start, and this is going to be about 5 minutes of moving around. So I'm going to set my, excuse me, I left it sitting over here. I'm right here. I didn't go anywhere. I'm going to set this interval clock, and every time the beep goes off, we're going to do a new movement. So follow along. This is for just getting moving. This stuff you can use any time of the day. Right now, I've been sitting for quite a while. I was on a computer program learning something about 3D printing. Long story, don't want to go into it. And I'm feeling kind of sluggish. So this kind of movement will get my energy back up, and probably yours too, unless you barely slept last night, and then what you need is to sleep. But if you're just feeling sluggish, let's do this. Here we go. We'll start in 5 seconds. 4. We're just going to do this. This is the big cross crawl. All you got to do is swing one arm around and the other. Notice I'm swinging from my shoulders, touching my opposite thigh with my wrist or the outside of my arm. And while you're doing this, let's breathe. So, right down here in the lower quarter part of your lungs. In through your nose and out through your nose. So it'll be like this. Doesn't have to be full breaths, although we can do that just to hear it and do it. So let's try a couple full breaths. And now, let's do a toe touch. Hands on your hips, reach up. Every time the beat goes off, we're starting a new move. Exhale when you come down, inhale when you come up. So big breaths, like I said. Here we go. Reach up. When you bend over, to take stress off your back, you might have to bend your knees quite a bit. That's fine. If you don't have to do that, if you're real flexible, then you don't have to do that. But some people do. I like to soften my knees a little unless I'm really warmed up, so I give them a little bend. Okay, next one. Put your left foot forward. All you're going to do is reach with your right hand across like this here. So here I am from the side, right? 1, back. You don't have to touch anything. You don't have to touch the floor. You can practice reaching out. You can practice reaching down. Just reach with the one arm, put the other hand on your hip. So this is the left leg and the right arm, right? Left leg's forward, right arm's reaching. Right foot's way back there, just helping you balance. Left hand's on your left hip. I'm going to go low a couple times. We're going to switch sides. Here we go. And 2, 1, go. Couple more minutes of this. You can do one of these for a minute or two. You can run through all of them, plus one of the any of the other things you've seen on all the videos that Younger Than Last Year has up, and there's a bunch of them. Way too many to show you in this short amount of time, that's for sure. It's a good little strength move right here. We'll go one more minute, And let's get on the floor. Let me adjust the camera. Here we go. Let's get on our hands and knees like this. So watch this. I'm going to take, this is kind of a roll for my hands and knees. I'm going to take my left leg over and just sit like this. Then I'm going to come back. Here it is from the back side. Right leg over, sit like this. So let's try this. Come back. Reach up and over with your leg. Sit like so. Roll back. You can sit with your legs like this if you want, or like this with your butt on the ground. Let's just do 3 more on each side, and then we'll stop. So here we go. 1. Notice I'm looking around my head too. 2. I'm feeling a lot more energized, I can tell you that. 3. And 3. All right. So just that, I don't know, what was that? Maybe 4 minutes of just doing that stuff. Nothing taxing, but it does get my heart rate up slightly. I'm warmer. The energy, the blood circulating, the systems in my body, oops, just shut that off. More systems in my body are starting to get up and running. Good stuff. Movement is life. Speaking of life, I'm going to talk about a little bit about foundation number 7, passion. If you look at the other 6 foundations, mindset, breathing, rest and recovery, fuel, mobility, flexibility, and strength, they all work together, but they're wrapped in this big ball of passion, and passion is life, like I said. So a little story. This past weekend, we went away. We were in upstate New York, and we had rented a house there. Beautiful little house, a comfortable place. It was on a hill. At the bottom of the hill was a river, trees, big blue sky. The weather was one day it was very hot, actually. It's wildlife, a deck to sit on, a deck on the low part of the house, and a deck in the high part. It was 2 stories. And you could just sit on the deck if you wanted to. It was just quiet. Now, I live in New York City, and there's a lot going on here. And it's just, the energy here is completely different. You don't need me to tell you that, I'm sure. Especially if you don't live here and you visit here, you might get bombarded with too much stuff. Anyway, when I was up there, I was also wanted to see it's been a while since I'd done something like that, especially after last year. It didn't go away, really. So it'd been a stressful year. It was hard financially. Just lately, a lot of things breaking or people needing this, that. So I went up there, and as I'm working on the book for Younger Than Last Year, I wanted to use that as a litmus test. So one morning I was there. Everyone else was doing something. I just sat on the deck, and I just started writing about stuff. And when I do that here, sometimes it's more procrastination getting started, or when I do, I kind of write, but it's a little meandering. I got up there, I started writing, and it was much less meandering. The clarity just from looking at nature and seeing how nature connects us all. I don't know what it is. It's on a weird level. Everything was much easier to write. And I could have sat there for much longer than here. Because here it's always something like, oh, I got to do this now. I got to do that now. And do I really always have to do that? Probably not. But that's what happens, right? So you're emerging from lockdown. I'm getting to a point here. You're emerging from lockdown. And now I'm showing you these moves. I'm talking about the foundations, eating better like last week, salt, sugar, and fat, and all that stuff that I talked about last week. You can go back and watch that episode. It's about foundation number 4, fuel. We're going to get back to that next week, I think, by the way. And talking about all that, where was my point? I completely lost track. Look at this. What passion is this? So, um, you're emerging from lockdown, and I'm telling you about all these foundations, what to do, but you can't seem to get started. Procrastinate, or one thing after another gets in your way, or you're just feeling kind of like I did after I got back, kind of. I hate the word motivation. Motivation is a very short lived. It's kind of like a fuse on a firecracker. It burns fast and then it's gone. To rely on something, some almost figment of imagination called motivation, is not the best way to go about things. So I noticed after I got back here, I was feeling as soon as I got back, we got stuck in major traffic, and everything, all the clarity and kind of thing I had in my head was all starting to disappear as I sat in an hour and 20 minutes of traffic to go on a drive that usually would take 30 minutes tops. So I'm wondering, what's the point of this, going up there and then coming back to this? And then I get back home, and there's all this stuff going on, and all of it was kind of fading away. So, day before yesterday, or is it yesterday? I think it was. Yesterday morning, I was even having trouble because every morning I do some of the things I showed you. I do some movement stuff. It takes me about 40 minutes to do all the things. Someday I'll show you some of it. And I noticed I was not even feeling up for that. I'll say, yeah, okay, kind of putting it off. And I said, I got to do a class now. Well, I should do this. I don't like being in that place. So what was happening was I was very disconnected inside, almost divided, or as you fragments, right? Like a computer drive is in all these fragments, and you got to defrag the computer, right? I need a little defragging. Well, when it comes to human beings, a lot of that doesn't really happen here. It happens in a whole different level from there. You have to. What I did was I just started observing everything, observing what I was thinking, observing where that was leading, watching my inattention, really. And as I did that, and I looked out the window, and I noticed the trees and how the sun was hitting it, and just noticed it. Didn't say, oh, that looks nice, or that was, or if I did say, oh, that looks nice, or it looked better yesterday, or something like that. And if I did say that, I'd notice that too. And pretty soon things went back to that free kind of connected. I just felt a defragging, a little fresher. So then I got back with that same old swing how I felt. I got on the floor and started doing the stuff. And man, I dropped right into the hole, and pretty soon I was right back in the rhythm. And as I did the moves, I was watching what I was thinking, watching my breath, not trying to correct it or fix it or will myself to do it, just observing it, right? Observing it without without bringing any concepts or any end goal into it, all right? So if all that's happening to you and you're having trouble getting started in the things I'm showing you, back off a little bit, right? And just try it, watch it. If you don't believe it or understand it, just try it. In fact, or don't even try it, just do it. And that's where passion comes in. I'm going to wrap this up now because we're almost out of time. Passion is that big ball. You need to be interested in this. You need that passion. The curiosity? Maybe. I think it's more passion. I first heard about this. It's called tapas, the passion, the sweat. When I was practicing and learning Ashtanga yoga back in early 90s, so I first heard this thing about tapas, the fervor, the sweat, the passion. It takes that kind of wholeness to watch things. It's not just a thing with your eyes or your ears or you're just thinking about it. When you're really doing it, it's your whole body, right? It's your nerves, it's your senses, it's your brain, it's your heart. And that's where the connection comes from, and that's where the passion is. So, there's no method here because methods will just get you stuck in another way of thinking. This is just all about observing, right? With no end goal, really. Say, I got to calm down. I got to calm down. Let me try observing. Just observe and watch. I hope that helps a little bit, because passion without life without passion is like you might as well be an android or a robot. And here I was just thinking about this. A great passion. Woo! You can see this. For those of you that might know this comic book character, this is Billy Batson. This is Captain Marvel. When I was a kid, my dad told me about this. I love the fact that a young boy just had to say the word Shazam and could become this guy that had the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, the power of Atlas, something of Atlas, endurance, stamina of Atlas, power of Zeus, invulnerability, toughness of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury. And for years, I would just say that word to myself, Shazam. So if it takes that word, come up with your own word when you find yourself in need of a defrag. Or just borrow Captain Marvel. Shazam! And that's it for today. Let's fade out by doing some marching, or let's skip in place. If you can't skip, just march in place like this. Swing your arms. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's you and I do one thing today to be younger than we were last year. I'll see you next time. Bye.